Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I always thought Aunt Maeve was just peculiar. Not in a bad way, just different. She lived in an old house on the very edge of the city, a place where suburban sprawl gave way to neglected industrial parks, and most notably, a long, forgotten stretch of the old municipal canal. Her garden was a riot of native weeds and strange, pale mosses, and the air around her always carried a faint, damp, earthy scent, like turned soil after a heavy rain. Maeve loved that canal. She'd spend hours by its murky banks, even in the dead of winter, sketching in a worn leather-bound book or just sitting, perfectly still, as if listening to something only she could hear. She always wore a heavy, obsidian-like necklace, a cold, dark stone that seemed to absorb all light, even on the sunniest days. When I was a kid, she'd sometimes give me smooth, dark river stones, telling me they were whispers from the deep. I loved visiting her. She was my favorite eccentric relative, a comforting constant in a world that felt too fast and too bright. But as Maeve got older, her peculiarities deepened. The earthy smell became more pronounced, almost aquatic. Her skin grew unnaturally pale, and her eyes, always a striking blue, seemed to sink deeper into her face, taking on a strangely reflective quality in dim light. She'd speak in riddles about the deep song and the pull of the old heart, her voice a low, wet murmur. She stopped answering her phone, and visitors were rare. My mother, her sister, just sighed and said, "Maeve's gone fully feral." "It's the canal, I tell you." Then came the call. Maeve was gone, found peacefully in her bed, the necklace clutched in her hand. Her will was simple, the house and everything in it to me, Rowan. My mother was furious. She wanted the property sold, but Maeve's instructions were explicit. I was to take possession, and I was to feed the old heart. She even included a small, separate note, handwritten in her spidery script. "Listen for the pull, little one. The current knows your name." Moving into Maeve's house was like stepping into a different time. The silence was profound, broken only by the distant hum of the city and, oddly, a faint, rhythmic lapping sound that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, even when there was no wind to stir the canal. The first thing I did was unpack the box containing Maeve's necklace. As my fingers closed around the cold, heavy stone, a low hum vibrated through my hand, a subtle resonance that felt both ancient and alive. I wore it. It felt unnervingly cold against my skin, but also right. That's when things really started. The humming from the necklace became a constant companion, a deep, almost subaudible thrumming that seemed to attune my ears to other frequencies. The everyday sounds of traffic and human chatter became grating, distorted. But the sounds of the canal, the shifting of silt, the whisper of water against ancient concrete, the faint skittering of unseen creatures beneath the banks, grew incredibly clear, almost intimate. My appetite shifted. Normal food tasted bland, artificial. I found myself craving things with a raw, earthy tang, a metallic bite. I'd walk the overgrown banks of the canal, feeling an irresistible urge to reach into the water, to taste the cold sediment, to feel the life within. My skin, usually prone to dryness, felt perpetually damp, cool to the touch. I began to find myself drawn to the darkest, coldest corners of the house, away from sunlight. One evening, while staring at my reflection, I saw it. It was subtle, almost imperceptible. My eyes, usually a warm hazel, had a strange, almost luminescent sheen to them in the low light, like a fish's eye catching a distant beam. And my teeth, they felt different, sharper, longer. My tongue, tracing the edges of my incisors, found them subtly elongated, almost pointed. I ran my fingers over them, a tremor of fear and a strange thrill running through me. I tried to call my old friend, Terence. "Something's happening to me, Terence," I whispered, my voice sounding alien even to my own ears. "Since Maeve died, since I moved in, I feel like I'm changing." He laughed, a nervous, dismissive sound. "You're just grieving, Rowan, and that old house is probably getting to you. Get out for a bit, get some sun." Sun, the word felt like a curse. The thought of direct sunlight now made my skin crawl. The world outside the house felt too bright, too loud, too dry. My isolation deepened. I stopped trying to connect with the human world. My world was becoming the house, the canal, and the ever-present, throbbing hum of the necklace. The pull grew undeniable. I found myself spending entire nights by the canal, sometimes even wading into the shallower parts, the frigid water a comforting embrace. My skin absorbed the chill, my senses alive to the unseen life beneath the surface. I started finding Maeve's old sketches, hidden among loose floorboards. They weren't just landscapes. They were detailed anatomical drawings of strange, cartilaginous forms that seemed to shift and writhe beneath the water, with rows of needle-sharp teeth and eyes that glowed faintly. In some sketches, human figures were shown merging with these forms, their limbs elongating, their skin adapting. One night, the hum of the necklace became a roaring crescendo, a silent scream that only I could hear. It led me, not along the bank, but into an old, rusted storm drain that emptied into the canal, half hidden by years of overgrowth. The air inside was thick with the scent of damp earth, metal, and something else, something ancient, mineral, and undeniably alive. I crawled deeper, the water rising around my knees, the darkness absolute but for the faint, reflective gleam from my own eyes. My teeth ached, my tongue tingled. Then I saw it, not a creature, not an animal. It was a vast, pulsating mass within the deepest part of the tunnel, a living tapestry of mineral deposits, ancient roots, and something like bioluminescent fungus, all intertwined with the very structure of the earth and the concrete of the canal. It radiated cold, and a profound, silent song that resonated directly in my skull, beyond hearing. This was the old heart Maeve spoke of. This was what she fed. And I realized, with a horrifying clarity that pierced through every shred of my humanity, that this was what I was becoming. My reflection in the stagnant water of the tunnel showed eyes that were now fully reflective, pupils dilated to drink in the ambient glow. My teeth gleamed, unnaturally long and sharp. My skin felt slick, almost scaly. The face I saw was no longer just Rowan. It was Maeve's face, but also the face of something far older, something that belonged to the cold, wet dark. The canal isn't just water, and Maeve wasn't just eccentric. She was an inheritor, a guardian, a conduit. And now, so am I. The pull is complete. The old heart has found its new keeper. I feel the hunger, a deep, consuming need for the cool, life-giving waters, for the silent song that now forms the very core of my being. I don't belong with humanity anymore. I belong to the deep, to the cold embrace of the water, to the ancient heart that beats beneath the city. My transformation is not complete, but it is irreversible, and I'm ready to finish it. The canal calls, and I must answer. The water hums, and my teeth ache with a familiar longing. I am here, in the cold, deep dark, and I am waiting for you to listen. Can you hear the current calling your name, too?
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.